Nice to be up here.
I just got to meet you on stage, met you on stage, and I love the stage, and I think you did really well. So I'm kind of like going to get to know you why you're on this level, because I do think we might have a Ewan McGregor here. You just don't know what might happen with this kind of energy that we saw on the stage. And how old are you?
I'm 19.
19.
19, yep.
How many shows have you done?
How many shows have I done with? I've only been doing theater for actually 4 years. This will be my 4th year doing theater, and within that time, I think I've done 6 or 7. Mm-hmm. So I've only been a lead in 2 other shows, and this is my first actual lead in a musical.
Right.
So it's a new experience for me to be able to take on what I am in this show. So
right.
I'm getting used to what the aspects are, because usually I'm ensemble or understudies. Actually,
okay.
All through high school, I was in understudy all my life.
Now, where are you from?
Fredericksburg, Virginia.
Fredericksburg. Did you come to Averett?
Yes, I did. I got in contact with a couple of guys at Averett, and I took a visit here, and then I went and auditioned for them, and I found out that one of our professors named Brad Bass was actually on Broadway himself for about 8 years, and he was actually in the original cast of Memphis. On Broadway, he was the understudy for Huey, and he was also in the ensemble. He was Frank Dreyer, and he was Perry Como. So, so we had just got done wrapping up with Dangerous Liaisons, which is the show that we had done at Averett. And Brad texted me after rehearsal one day and was like, "Hey, PH is having auditions for Memphis tomorrow." And I said, "Okay, so it sounds interesting. You know, I'll do something. You know, I put out some sheet music and I got prepared for it. And I went out there, and I didn't really expect a phone call in 4 days, but Devin ended up calling me up and asked me if I wanted to play Huey, and I said yeah. And ever since, it's kind of just been off now. You know?
Right. Now, acting, getting working with the Patriot Play, is it kind of fun working with them?
Yeah, I do. The thing that I really like about the PH is that it feels like a family in the cast. You know, at Averett, I'm used to everybody kind of like being on their own thing and then coming together at a certain point. But I've felt like I've made some really awesome friendships that I've had, and it's been a very fun time. You know, especially with the kind of show like this. You know, really upbeat and some good goofy characters and things like that. And but it's been a really fun time, and Devin is a director that you can enjoy to be around. He's always goofing off with you as well. You know, he's always throwing out jokes and things like that,
Makes you laugh.
which is nice. You know, it's always nice to have a director that is willing to interact with your cast. You know, besides just in rehearsals and giving you directing notes. So, but it overall has been very fun.
Yeah. Now, what I really liked is your acting. I mean, you convinced me that you became this character during the show. Yeah,
the acting for this show came a long way. It's one of those things that I actually had to sit down and look at who Huey was himself. And as I had said before, Huey is a very goofy character. And I thought about that, and I said, you know what? I kind of want to throw some me into this, because growing up all my life, you know,
Goofy's me, right?
I was the best kid.
Explain to me when you say you were goofy as a kid.
I was always throwing out jokes. I was always doing weird dances and things like that out in public, and I was always doing some things that would always crack up my mom and her friends and all that kind of stuff.
Right.
And she would always call me.
Were you the class clown?
Yeah, I was. I was. For a long time, I was the class clown in high school and in middle school as well. So it kind of just like caught on to me, and theater was one of those things that I saw that I was able to actually show that.
Right.
Because when I played football in high school, I was on varsity for all 4 years. So I thought I was the typical jock my first year of high school, you know, where I was like, oh, I'm too cool for theater. You know, I don't want to do this. I just want to hang out with my friends. But then I got into it my sophomore year, and I was like, wow, this is something that allows me to open up and do what I want to do and be happy and be goofy and fun.
Because on the stage, you become like a magical person. You know what I'm saying? Do you feel that?
Yeah, I do. It's one of those things that as soon as I step on stage for that very first number, I forget everything that's going on around me. I just be Huey. I get so real into it. I have real emotions throughout this entire show. Right. And I forget that you guys are even there in the audience.
Really?
Yeah, I do. It's one of those things that I'm just feel like I'm in real life.
Right.
You know,
you just kind of lock into it.
Yeah, and it's one of and that's how it is with me. You know, and it's method acting, and it's a way to do it, and it helps for certain roles, and some roles it's not. But I feel
how about if the actor you're acting with is maybe not in it like you are? Does that make a difference?
It can to an extent. Yeah. Because especially when you're on stage with certain people so much, and especially, you know, if you have like another lead in the show that is your counterpart, which is my love and interest in the show. Yeah. When things are being a little bit different at times, it makes it challenging for your opposite actor to play off of you, because acting is reacting.
Right.
So you have to be able to play off of what other people give you too. So when things are a little bit down or something like that, or something's going on, then that means, you know, you have to find a way to click into that and be able to work with what you have at that moment.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And sometimes it's a challenging thing, but if at the end of the day, if you have the training to be able to pull off what you can pull off, you know,
that's one of the things I thought you were able to do. Even if you were acting with somebody that might quite not have been in as much as you were able to kind of make the scene better.
Yeah, and that's something you have to be able to do. And something that I do when I come into that for improv is if I see something that happens, you know, I step into a new world.
Is each show different for you?
Is each show different?
Yeah.
It can be. Some of them feel the same and some of them don't. But that's all just a matter of, you know, how I take things throughout my day as well. Because theater for me doesn't just happen when I step on stage too. You know, I think about it all the time. When I'm on the way to Martinsville from Danville, you know, I think about, you know, what I can do and like what I can do with some music and things like that. But every show is different in its own aspect.
Right.
Because it's live theater, and that's something you have to look at. So that means mistakes can happen, cues can go wrong, things like that can go different, you know. And let's say you show up to every single show throughout our entire process. You might see a difference from the time that we open to the time that we close.
Yeah.
And that's just part of theater, and that's what happens. And but obviously, as an actor, when you're in a show, you want to be able to give the best performance you can for every audience that's out there, because every show is paid the same amount for every audience member.
I got you.
You know.
All right, rather than take a commercial break, guys, I want to actually show the segment I did when I went out last Sunday to take a look at the show. Can we roll that? Let's roll the piece, and then we'll talk about it when we come back. Let's just take a look. If you're looking for a show to take you to the past and also inform and entertain, you might want to check out Memphis the Musical, playing at Patrick Henry Community College for one more weekend.
I think that they're going to get love, they're going to get energy, they're going to laugh, they're going to cry in moments. It's just certainly a fun show. It's bright. It's a 2010 Tony winner. I recommend highly, if you can make it out next weekend, the 26th through the 29th, come see Memphis. You're not going to regret it.
All I know is Memphis will.
During this show, you'll meet new characters and new actors.
And that's something that motivated me a lot, was that Huey himself as a character is very similar to what I was growing up, actually. I was a very quirky character. I was always goofy. I was always the silly kid on the block in school. So when I was able to take on this role, it allowed me to be more of me than it was being a character that's just in a book. So it was a very long thing for me that was actually kind of hard to be able to get into the character. There's actually a couple of times where I physically feel the emotions. When she hands me the ring at the end of the show, I actually tear up about it, and I feel like it means, you know, a thing in my heart. It's a very exhausting show, but I really love what it can do for the community and how it allows you to actually see things that happened then that can still happen today. So it allows us to remind people of, you know, what happened and how things can change, and it allows us to do that. And the process with the entire cast has been absolutely amazing. And this show is it's affected me in my heart. And out of all the shows that I've ever performed in, I think this show will probably stick with me for the rest of my life. So, and it's a big thing for me.
When you gotta wonder if you done right, follow around me.
This show is a workout for Lydia Tyree.
I enjoy it. I love it. I mean, I'm frantic before, and then once like I get that first scene out, it's like,
Yeah, it looked at the end that you didn't want to stop.
no, I don't. I could do it all over again. And then like once the adrenaline dies down, like afterwards, it's like, okay, now I'm going home to crash. But I love it. I enjoy it so much. I love it. Yeah, I could do this like every day.
The local players have definitely had success. This is their 26th show.
So this is our 26th production of the Patriot Player since April of 2013. We're excited.
How do you feel? I know I heard there's some rough weeks and snow and all that stuff going on?
Yeah, so, the snow kind of took us out for about 10 rehearsals, but these guys have done a phenomenal job with the time that they've had. They've had about 30 rehearsals, and it's a 2-book musical, so they've done far exceeded my expectations of what they can accomplish in 30 rehearsals.
And everybody was talking about artistic director Devin Pendleton losing 42 whopping pounds.
Well, today I've lost about 42 pounds, just making better decisions, diet and exercise.
What's up with the glasses?
Oh, you like the glasses? That someone asked me, are they fashion or function? They're both. So, I don't know, trying out a new look. Doesn't hurt.
Get your tickets at the PHCC box office, or get them online, or just simply go to the play. Memphis the Musical playing Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, and for a Sunday matinee. That's kind of what got me excited. I think I picked the energy up there from that Sunday show. And Devin Pendleton, have you enjoyed working with him?
I have. Devin is a very funny character. He's a really goofy character as well. So I feel like him and I can have some similarities in ourselves, which is why I enjoy being around him so much. Like there's times where I
think all of us do.
Yeah, where I walk into his office and I just bust in there and I crack jokes with him and I just go right back out, and I go on and on about stuff like that. But he's fun. He is. He's very fun to be with, and he's always doing things to also support his actors when he needs to.
Right.
And so whenever I have something I need, he tries to go out and do what he can out of his way to make it happen.
I've worked on commercials with him, and all. I mean, we've done a lot of work together. And he's just, I can't wait to get to the party, because he kind of makes it like a party.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, you think this will be your last production with the Players, or would you like to do more with them?
I would like to do more if I get the opportunity to come back and do it again, but things that I also have to consider is what my school is doing as well. So if I ever have an opening to come back and do a show or something like that, I would definitely love to come back and be able to perform, because they're always doing really large shows.
Now, are you living in Danville now, or you still live back in Fredericksburg?
I live in Fredericksburg, so when I get done with my semester, which happens in a couple of days actually, 2 days after we close the show, I have to go back to my hometown in Fredericksburg.
I got you.
But I plan on getting an apartment within the next 2 years in Danville if I can.
Right.
So that'll make things a little bit easier for me when I want to be able to.
Is this going to be your major?
Yes. I'm actually a theater education major now with a minor in musical theater.
Wow.
And what my plans are is after I get my degree here, I want to go off to AMDA in New York, and I want to be able to get some professional skills there and be able to perfect my craft in theater and be able to go on to Broadway.
Right. So, where do you think you need the most work?
Where do I think I need most in my work? I think something that I personally need is my singing could be a little bit better. I also have to work on dancing and things like that. But overall, there's always something an actor, excels at and doesn't excel at. But
so what do you do to be a better singer? I'm just curious.
What do I do to be a better singer?
Do you get a singing coach? Or
So what I do is I work with Brad a lot as well when it comes to songs. So if I have an audition song in my book, I ask Brad, hey Brad, can I come to your office and check on this with you and work on it?
Right.
And he allows me to, but also he sets me up with voice lessons as well. So what I'm going to be doing is in the next semester, I'm actually going to be paying to be in voice lessons with this lady he says is absolutely phenomenal.
Right.
And so I'm going to be able to do that as well, because I want to be able to all around be a good actor. I don't want myself just to be good at one thing or two things and be bad at one thing. I want to be good at everything.
That I thought when you sang it wasn't quite on cue, but it was getting there.
Yeah. So what I try to do with the show is,
and that's why I like watching community theater.
Yeah.
Because it's not always perfect.
Yeah, and something that I look at a lot too when it comes to singing in the show. My numbers for singing are really complicated.
Yeah.
There's a lot of belting music, at high notes, which I haven't done a lot in my life.
Right.
But I am a tenor, so I am blessed to be able to go up there and sing notes of that nature. But they are complicated, and they are hard at some points. Especially when you talk all show, you're nonstop in the booth, yelling and stuff like that. So your voice ends up getting, tired throughout time. But that's an excuse, so ignore that. So I still put on the show for the people.
Yeah. I'm liking you already, because the reason I like you is because I know that you're not quite at the top of the mountain yet.
Yeah, I'm not there.
But it's going to be a fun journey.
Yeah, and that's something that I tell my professors at Avery. Because earlier, I had my evaluation for the end of the year where they sit down with all of their.
Oh, really? How'd that go?
With all their majors, and professors will talk to you and ask you, how do you think you felt this year, or what do you think you excelled in, or what could you work at, and things like that. And I told them, I'm not the best there is. I'm not, I might be a lead in a show right now, and I might be the star or like the head face, but that doesn't mean anything. I could get done with this show, go on to an audition, and play ensemble somewhere. Yeah. So there's always room for improvement as an actor, and that's the thing. I humble myself.
Right.
And as you said, it's a journey, and I still have 4 more years of college.
4 more?
Well, 3 more.
3 more.
After this semester.
And so, are you going to be at Averett all this trip?
Yes, I will be.
This is what I want to ask you. Because I like to watch an actor go from start to the finish of college and see how much you improve.
Yeah.
Will you let us follow you? I mean, because we have a station in Danville. We cover. So in other words, you're all part of the circle around here. I'd love to just like every now and then just check in with you and see how things are going.
Yeah, that would be absolutely awesome. I would be perfectly fine with that.
See, I think I'm kind of a film guy. Obviously, I own a movie theater. I see you in film.
Yeah. Actually, yesterday I had a lady walk up to me after our show and ask me if I ever consider being in film and things like that. And I told her, I said, look, if somebody came up to me and offered me the job opportunity to be in a film, I would take it.
Right.
But my ultimate goal in life is to be on Broadway. But as I've learned, in my time of theater, when somebody offers you a job, you say yes, no matter what it is. And I don't necessarily say that as of like I don't want to do it, because obviously it'd be really fun to be on camera.
But I guess I still think in our time, film is to me, good actors do both.
Yeah.
But film still, it's kind of like it gets recorded in time.
Yeah.
When you do a film, I mean, you can't take it away.
Yeah, there's a big difference between live theater and film.
Yeah.
And a lot of people don't see, the difference between the two. With theater, like I said, it's live.
Yeah.
Mistakes can happen. If something
like the
happens
pressure?
on stage.
You like the pressure?
I don't think about the pressure.
You don't?
Because when I played football, I was a kicker. So a lot of things came down to me. So imagine you being, you go out on the field with 3 seconds left on the clock, and you have to kick a game-winning field goal.
Right.
You miss it, you hate it, or you're hated. You make it, you're loved. You know. So
Right.
I had a lot of pressure in that, and that's one of those things that I'm blessed to say I can get through.
Right.
Pressure is just one of those things that somebody throws on your shoulders and doesn't want you to get through. But you push through it and you get done with it and you make something look great. That's what it's about. Some people work very well under pressure.
Yeah.
I like to think I do. I get things done. Obviously, the show is getting absolutely phenomenal reviews. A lot of people don't know exactly what Memphis is.
Right.
But it's one of those things that once they see it once, it's going to be in their head for a while.
I like the story.
The story is, it's
because some musicals are weak on story.
Yeah, and that's the difference between shows that succeed and don't.
Yeah.
See, you have some shows that go on to New York and to Broadway and things like that, and are only running for 2 or 3 months.
Yeah.
And they close.
Right.
And that's sad because some shows are really good, but a lot of people don't understand what happens in them.
Right.
And the thing that's great about this is it shows a place and time that wasn't a very good time in life, but somebody can make it good.
Right.
Which is absolutely amazing. Not
Right.
just the fact that Huey comes in and puts soul music on
And
white
you're the only
stations.
character at the end that really seems to have gotten it all. That's the way I say it. In other words, it's like even though you had to take a fall, you still are who you are.
Yeah, and that's something that I look at a lot. And when Devin asked me questions about my character and things like that, he's like, "What are your pivotal moments and things like that as a character?" And in the scene where I'm sitting down there and I come in and I get dressed, and Felicia is talking about maybe you should think about going to New York and all this kind of stuff, and I tell her, no.
Yeah.
I don't want to change who I am just to have something,
Because for the audience, they might not know this, but if you go to New York, you're going to have to get rid of your African American group that got you there. They want you to all go with just normal white folks.
As Huey says in the show, why would I assume my rhythm and blues show won't have none of the folks who make the rhythm and blues?
Right. Yeah.
So, and I stand up for that.
Yeah.
Obviously, in the show, he kind of gets crapped on a little bit because she leaves and she goes to New York and everything for him kind of falls apart.
Yeah.
But at the end of the show, you still see happiness in him.
Yeah.
Because Felicia comes back and asks him to come to her concert, and he goes, "Well, I can't do it. Nobody's gonna know who I am." And he goes out there and He makes the guest surprise, you know.
Exactly.
And he still has himself, as you said, you know. He's still Huey.
Yeah.
Even though he feels like he's not there anymore at some point. And that's something that you really get to look at, because in history in the 50s, you never saw white stations playing
Right.
the rhythm and blues
I
music.
love how you
or,
snuck into the station and got it going.
Yeah, or even
Yeah.
when you look at blacks and whites back then, they weren't allowed to be together. So
Right.
the fact he doesn't just try to bring music on TV or on the TTV and the radio, he also falls in love with the black woman who is a great singer and a phenomenal singer, and he actually puts her on the radio.
Oh yeah.
A lot of people question if he really made her famous, but something that I look at is,
And you kind of gave it all up for her.
yeah, and the thing that I look at is, I think he did make her famous. Even though somebody else came down from New York to
Yeah.
listen to her,
Right.
if he wouldn't have gotten her on the radio,
Yeah, and I like
She
how
would
you
still
kind
be
of
in the
like
club,
don't allow these
you know?
guys to take over.
yeah,
You were
and
doing everything you could.
that's the thing that I even told the guys who come down from New York, and they say, well, we want you to be on every TV broadcast in the country. And I'm like, no. No, I didn't even know about this. You know,
Right.
I'm being thrown away. Nobody told me that any of this was happening and all that kind of stuff. And that's what I like about Huey. Is he stands up for what he believes is right.
Exactly. And
You know,
this is what I like about you. You're so into Huey.
I love it. It's so fun.
Exactly. So that's why I wanted to have you on, because you know, local community theater actors don't always get into it like you're getting into it. So I think you need to get into it. I think you will help the audience get into it like you helped me. So that's why I want to communicate to the audience. You need to spend a little time this weekend. We've got 4 more shows to go.
Yes, we do. 4 more.
Thursday, Friday, Saturday. All those are at 7. The last show Sunday at 2. I'm going to be back in there for 1 or 2 more shows.
I hope so.
Because I don't want this feeling to go away. I'm sure you don't either.
I don't, and that's the thing that I said with the cast when we opened the show. Because Devin always asks, because we do usually a prayer with the entire cast, and he asked before we pray, is there anything that anybody wants to say? And I said, yeah, I'd like to say something. I was telling the cast that this is a moment you need to cherish, because you look at musicals, which is different from film. With film, you get to watch that movie for the rest of your life if you want.
Right.
In theater, as soon as we put up a show and close it, it's gone. It never comes back.
Right.
You know, so you take 2 months to create this giant piece of art that people come together and watch and see, and we work as a unit, as a family, to put this on, and then we get to the closing show and we strike the set down, and it's one of those things where you're like, it's gone.
Right.
You know,
I'm
so
out
it's
of time.
yeah.
So I got to catch it this weekend. We'll be right back.